The pro-Hamas lunatics out in full force to disrupt this weekend's graduation celebrations. Anti-Israel agitators walking out of Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech at Duke University, with some of the crazies chanting "Free Palestine." And that wasn't the only unhinged weekend walkout. Columbia University grads were wearing zip ties, and one woman ripped up her diploma on stage. You know what? I'll go with the last one. Ripping up your diploma on stage, Jesse. Do you think that she should have ripped up her resume as well because she doesn't have a chance of getting a job?
Alvin Bragg will probably hire her. So graduation is just as much as it is about the students as it is about the parents. Dad has been saving for years. He's been pinching pennies. He wasn't able to get the hot rod that he wanted. But now the tuition is paid for. He wants to take a photo, have lunch, and have a drink. He doesn't want to have to explain to the grandparents why Lizzie just walked off. They think Lizzie didn't even get a diploma. It's very confusing. So if I were to give anybody advice, I would say, do your little Hamas thing when you accept the diploma. They hand it to you, you go, "Free Palestine," and you walk off. You just left Seinfeld. You don't get to hear what Jerry Seinfeld's advice was. This guy was the biggest star in the 90s besides Greg.
Thank you.
It was a star at Men's Health,
Yeah.
Less shiny, but still gleaming. This guy, he's wealthy, he has a young wife, he's a celebrity. Don't you want to learn from someone like that? And so what he did was he goes, the key to life is hard work, relationships, and exercise. And he's right. I would only add one thing, food. I'm reading this book about inflammation, Judge. I'll give it to you afterwards. It is just astounding.
Oh, thanks for that.
No, not you personally, but we could all use better diets. But it's like they were choosing ignorance. And anybody knows you never choose ignorance. You just stumble upon it like me sometimes.
Okay, Katie, thank you. By the way, I'll take the book. Katie, you know, Duke University was very different from the kids at Columbia. I mean, what do you attribute the difference to? I mean, is it, you know, Columbia, they stormed the administration building, and Duke is totally different. A few malcontents walk out, but they pretty much are yelling, "Jerry, Jerry."
Yeah, consequences for
what's it
actions,
about?
maybe. Consequences for actions, geography. Columbia is in New York City. Duke is in North Carolina. You know, Jerry Seinfeld is someone who stopped going to college campuses a long time ago to do stand-up because it just would be like this. But the facts are that the majority of students around the country don't believe in this pro-Hamas, pro-terrorism ideology that's ruining things for everybody else because they believe in Western society, creativity, the First Amendment, keeping their heads, women's rights, those types of things. And to Jesse's point, for them to walk out and not want to listen and learn from someone who has had a very successful career and life in America, too bad for them. And it just represents the larger liberal ideology of ripping things down constantly instead of building them up, whether it's ripping apart your diploma or, destroying the commencement speech for everybody else. And, for Jerry Seinfeld to get protested, he's an American. So it's really more about anti-Semitism than it is about anti-Israel protesting.
You know, Harold, this Sunday, Biden is giving a speech at Morehouse, which is...
Historically Black College in Atlanta,
yeah.
or middle school in Atlanta.
Yeah, and apparently some of the students are not happy already, and one saying generally the feeling on the ground is we don't want them here. We're obviously being used to score political points.
You know, I think one of the great problems in education in our society today, whether it's education in the school or what we like to do with our kids, is a really unfortunate trend where we are encouraging people to only want to be around easy tables in life. One of the reasons I love being around this table, the nights you all have me, is that the conversation is always stimulating. It sometimes can be a little combative, can be a little disagreeable, but we all have a healthy conversation, and I walk away from it having learned, and I hope I impart something that may make people think. Listening to these kids, I listened to what you said. He is successful, but even if he wasn't, and you didn't mean it this way, you nor Katie, even if he wasn't successful, the man has accomplished something in life, and he's lived his life. He's had the ups and downs. He's had more ups than he has had downs. He didn't talk politics in his speech. He said, in addition to what you said, Jesse, said, find something where you love the good parts and don't mind the bad parts too much. Now, he's a comedian. He loves to sort of make fun of things and give a little satire to what he's trying to say. But I hope the kids took that at heart. that for those that walked out, I hope they actually learn how to protest. They didn't walk out, Greg, and say, to your point, you made the point earlier about the Hamas, that those who are LGBTQ hate Israel so much they'd rather be with people who might kill them if they were aligned with them. But I didn't hear them say, Hamas, take the deal for a ceasefire. Free the Israeli and American hostages. America, we think you should do differently there. This is them talking, but all they did was free Palestine and walk out. I don't think we teach kids. We're not teaching Americans. We're not teaching citizens how you protest. And frankly, worst off, we're not teaching people how to be around hard tables. Because hard tables can be fun, they can be interesting, they can be uplifting, and at the end of the day, you can push everybody forward and get the higher ground. So thank you, Jerry Seinfeld, for standing up, being there, and even speaking when those kids walked out.
Greg, UNC Chapel Hill, they are now moving to divert DEI funds to police and public safety. These are the kids who fought for the American flag and held it up.
Typical historic white college. You don't ever hear that. I think, you know, it's funny. It all comes down to what Harold said, fun. Seinfeld is fun. And the people that you see on the other part of this equation hate fun. That woman that tore up her diploma, that was a diploma for social work. You know, it would have been more of a travesty if she tore up like one of those paper placemat menus from IHOP, because that's what it's worth. Seinfeld makes a really good point about privilege in his speech. He says, yeah, I came from a place of privilege, but so do you guys. You're graduating from Duke. I want to add to that and say, like, yeah, you should use your privilege, but if you don't, fine, be a loser. No one's telling you to use it. No one's telling you not to use it, except you. If you're rejecting the idea of privilege, then you need to reject your diploma. You shouldn't put Duke on your resume because that's privilege. You should take a vow of poverty. Anything that's related to your privilege, you should reject, because everything you do in life is related to your privilege. A lot of people who say they don't have privilege have more privilege than they're willing to let on. On the whole, though, when you look at the numbers, was what, like 40 people?
Well, not many,
Yeah.
You're seeing the literal example of the radical math. It's just a few idiots, but they pretend to be more imposing, whether on social media or by having groups, far-left groups sponsoring them. And that should be a message to the colleges and to the Democrat Party. Why are you so scared of a tiny faction? Why are you held hostage by the nuttiest people in your party or even outside your party? I mean, they're afraid of these people. Maybe it's because they fear their anti-Semitic slip is showing. I don't know. But, like, you go like, why are you... You know what? The right wing has zanies. They do. But they bubble up from the bottom. You know, they're the QAnons from Reddit. But the Democrats, they come from above. You know, they come from the professors. They come from the media. They come from these, you know, these weird organizations.
The White House.
The White House. Yeah, that one. Anyway, that's enough out of me.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.